G'day, Wombat here, and in today's budget gear we're going to take a look at this lovely beastie, the G240 by Cort. So the G240 is, well, it's an S-type guitar. I think that's probably the best way I can put it. Now, it's no secret that Cort have been making guitars for other brands for many years. One of those brands, of course, was Squier. Now, once you've been making Squier Stratocasters and Telecasters for quite a few years, you get to know a thing or two about making that style of guitar. So Cort introduced the G series, and the G series is all about the S-type shape. But having seen the way that other companies do it for so long, they thought they'd do something a little bit different, and that is why we're looking at this one today. So this is the 240, the G240. Which is sort of an upgraded version of the G200, which is their more standard style S-type guitar. But they do a few things differently. So let's have a look at it. So it is a basswood body with a Canadian maple neck. As you can see there, it's got a beautiful rosewood skunk stripe in there. No name tuners, as you would expect with the budget gear guitar. A rosewood fingerboard, 22 large frets, and electronically it's running 3 Duncan designed single coils, and I believe they're the SC101s. And here's where we start to get a bit different, because on this particular guitar, as well as the vintage style tremolo, they've only gone with 1 volume control and 1 tone control and a 5-way switch. So that's a little bit different to the way that this style of guitar would traditionally look. You know, most of the time they would have 2 tones and 1 volume, and these guys have only done the 1 volume and the 1 tone. Also, you'll notice there's something missing from here. Most S-type guitars will have a jack input in the front of the guitar right there. And Cort decided that they would rather put one on the edge. So there you go. There's a couple of things that are different automatically just from the look of it. You can also see that the body shape is not quite your traditional S-style shape. There is a slight difference in that body shape, which I quite like. I think it's a bit refreshing, to be totally honest. The other thing that they do that's a little bit different is a non-traditional neck joint. So traditionally on an S-type guitar, you've got a very blocky neck joint here. It sticks out quite a ways, remembering that the original versions of these guitars come from the early 50s, and not a lot has changed in the design of them. And back in those days, players didn't need better access to the higher frets because most of the time they were strumming chords. So this is definitely a more modern version of a neck joint. It's really cut away. I don't know how well that is getting picked up by the camera, but it's really cut away there and provides really good access to the upper frets. So talking about upper frets, how does this play? Well, it's pretty good. Right off the bat, it feels very comfortable in the hand. It's not what I would call a vintage style neck. It's a slim neck that they've given this. Not a shredder's neck, not that slim, but it is really comfortable. And it is satin finished, so there's no gloss whatsoever to make your hand stick when you get sweaty playing. So it feels pretty good in the hand neck-wise to play. So that right off the bat feels quite comfortable. The heel joint at the neck, of course, gives you really good access. It feels great. They use that particular heel joint on a few of their other guitars, and it just really works. So if you've been watching my channel for a while, you'll know that I struggle with S-type guitars. I struggle because with the way I play, because I don't normally play this style of guitar, the controls tend to get in my way. Most notably the volume, which normally sits right beside the bridge pickup. And I'll knock that constantly. So I thought this one might be all right because they've moved that volume down and they've only got the two there, so they've got a bit more room. And it does stay out of my way pretty good. So I was really pleased with that from a playability standpoint. For me personally, that sort of stayed out of my way, and I quite like that. The vintage trem is a cheap vintage trem, so tuning stability can be a little hit and miss depending on how much you abuse it. If you use a vintage trem for what it's designed for, and that was just simply giving a light wobble to a chord or some notes, nothing really dramatic, then it's not too bad. If you get abusive with it, it will not hold its tune, as most of these style of bridges, even the more expensive ones, sometimes just don't hold their tune. So that's to be expected with this kind of a price point. As I said, I love the control layout. It's fantastic. It stays out of my way. I personally like the jack input being on the side of the guitar. That's a personal preference for me once again. So let's talk about the Duncan Design pickups. Now, Duncan Design pickups, I've said before, can be a little hit and miss. They're generally made in Korea these days, and these ones weren't too bad. They, as I said before, they are the SC101s, and they're designed to fit tonally somewhere between a Seymour Duncan SSL2 and an SSL6. But they're not bad. They're really not bad at all. I threw everything at it, as I usually do, played some clean stuff, and I've got to say, the neck and middle pickup and the position between those two really, really shone. It was really quite nice. Very usable, very musical, and very, very Fender-like in some of its tones. It was quite good. The bridge pickup was ear-piercing. You know, the old anvil in the side of the head kind of thing, which I find most S-type guitars have that same problem. So here's where this improves over most S-type guitars. With the three controls that they have, the two tones and the one volume on most of these sorts of guitars, the two tones, they only work on the neck and the middle pickups, not the bridge pickup, which I always think is pretty stupid because it's the bridge pickup that's going to need tonal adjustment. If any of them need it, it's going to be the bridge pickup, right? But the bridge pickup doesn't have one. So kind of defeats that, and when you get one that's, you know, a bit piercing, you can't sort of knock the edge off that. This single tone control operates across all three. So I was able to bring that sharpness of this one down, make it much more pleasant, and I've got to tell you, it's a nice sounding pickup when you just take the edge off, and it's got quite a bit of poke for a single coil pickup. So blues tones were fantastic, rock tones was all there, and of course I throw metal at it. It's not a guitar that you'd want to be playing metal on, but I do it anyway because I want to see what the pickups can handle. And I've got to say, whilst they're not my pickups of choice if I was going to play a gig with my band, they actually did the metal thing okay, for probably better than most single coil pickups that I've heard. There was plenty of definition, particularly in this bridge pickup, plenty of definition, and there's a bit of poke in that pickup. It's got a bit of bite to it, so I was pleasantly surprised. As I said, I wouldn't want to necessarily gig with it, but if you're the kind of person who likes to play a lot of different types of music and occasionally branches into hard rock and metal territory, that would cover it if you're just doing it at home. So I was pleasantly surprised. Not a bad job at all from these Duncan Design pickups. So the colour, I don't know how the camera's picking this up because the colour, it's a little unusual. Now Cort call it Scarlet Red. I don't really see what is all that scarlet about it. It's a bit of an odd kind of a red, not the kind of red I'm used to seeing on a guitar like this. So it takes a little getting used to. They do come in some other colours if you don't like this particular colour, but this colour was just a little odd. So if you're looking for something a little bit different from the regular style of finish on these sort of guitars, this might be up your alley. But it is just a little bit different, and maybe a bit of an acquired taste, perhaps. But the finish on it is flawless, as usual, as I've come to expect from Cort guitars. The finish on this is really quite nice, and playability-wise, it plays really, really nice. We're talking about a low-end guitar here. You know, this is a budget gear review, but playability is nice. The neck pocket is rock solid. It's well made, as we've come to expect from Cort. It's got a 3-ply scratch plate on it. Yeah, you're not going to go too much wrong for your money. And if you're after, you know, an S-type guitar that's just a little bit different, but still gets the job done, this might be the guitar for you. So, it is a budget gear, and we're all thinking about the price. So, what is it? Well, recommended retail on this guy is about $4.99, which takes us right to the very edge of our budget gear price point. So, you know, it only just scrapes in there. And I believe a lot of that has to do with things like the Duncan Design pickups and that, which up the cost. And you're always going to get a great finish from these guys, no matter what price point you're looking at. Variety Music here in Australia, who once again provided me with this so that we could have a bit of a look at it. Thank you very much, Variety. Variety Music are doing these guys for about $320 at the moment, which really makes them competitively priced with the Duncan Design pickups in. And as I said, they sounded pretty damn good, and the playability of the neck was really quite nice. So there you are. That is the Cort G240, and it is not a bad looking guitar and playing guitar at that. So there you are. I hope you found that just a little bit interesting. Finally, an S-type guitar for me that doesn't get in the way that I play. I like it. What more can I say? So there we are. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click that little bell down there. They seem to like it when you do that. And if you want to see more of my videos, it'll tell you when a new one comes out. Alright, so there you are. So, as always, rock on, guys!